The Super Bowl is over, which means it's time to turn our attention to baseball. And if rumors are to be believed, the Oakland Athletics are about to become the Las Vegas Athletics in the not too distant future, which begs the question, where will they play? Now, there are two top contenders because they want to put the stadium on or just like near the strip that are being considered. And today, I'm going to take you to both of those locations, as well as a few other empty lots that I think would be a home run for a Major League Baseball stadium here in Las Vegas. I'll also be subjecting you to some rather amateurish computer renderings made by me on the preview program on my Mac of what I would do and how I would lay out each lot that I'm going to show you. I apologize in advance for my clearly not architecturally inclined renderings. So, let's play ball. It's a little loud because the engines from that airplane that run across the street from the airport on East Tropicana between Deckau and Kletch. Reminds me of back home east, my beloved Mets right near LaGuardia, Shea and Citi Field. I miss it. So this is just one empty lot, and that's the other. That's the main one. It's gated so I can't get in there. And it's right by the McCarran Village Plaza that you can see over there. This lot has a whole lot of land to it because there's a whole lot of nothing. Now, you might be asking yourself, New Yorker and Vegas, can they even build a stadium the size it needs to be so close to the airport? Well, let me tell you, I mean, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my idea is that if the ground underneath permits it, if you put a stadium here, you could do it kind of SoFi style, where it's in the ground. But even if you didn't do the SoFi underground approach, MGM is, I don't know, 30 stories maybe? And that's right there. And so the path of the flights comes this a ways. It's not directly over here. And with this building being 6 stories, you could easily put an 8, 10-story stadium right here. And that will allow you to have the beautiful, expansive Vegas skyline, because that's west. And so you can have west be on the third base side, and it goes that away. So you'll be able to catch at the right angles the Paris, Cosmopolitan, Aria, City Center, Venetian, the Plaza, the MSG Sphere. And you got the Virgin right there, the Virgin Hotel. So this could also be kind of a bridging gap between, you know, kind of a offshoot, go this way to that way, but it can also help bridge that hotel to the main strip and make it a little bit more relevant. And what's also cool, UNLV is right there. And so this will kind of bridge that gap between the strip to UNLV and make it a little bit more of a safe pedestrian walkway environment region of town. And MGM Grand is right there. It is within walking distance. Now granted, this is not the best area. There is some low. Oh, there goes the plane. You hear it? Bye-bye, safe flight. Anyway, so there is a lot of low-income housing over here. And I'm not a believer in like gentrifying it, but it's nice to put some resources in the community to help individuals get on their feet and kind of get to that next stage in life, which every human deserves. The main monorail is kind of between that parking lot and MGM itself. So it would be easy to either walk from there, have a passageway between those two buildings over there, or just extend it down right to the stadium. Don't have the last stop be MGM, have the last stop on game day be coming down here. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. Now it will mess up traffic on East Tropicana, and with Tropicana right now, that's we know what that's like here. But they're construction. You can create all new roads that come in through the back way. Don't make it so you can access the stadium from Tropicana. Keep that free. Keep Tropicana free and just have it come down the side back streets from over there, from over there, from over there. The only way the stadium should be accessible during game day from East Tropicana is for pedestrians coming on mass transit. You have a bus stop right here, and you put one right there. And that way pedestrians can get off and walk in East Tropicana, but the cars, you may go around elsewhere. That will help ease congestion and keep Tropicana free because it is a main hub for access to and from the airport. You don't want to mess that up. I told you these would be terrible. Anyway, here's the monorail extension I proposed coming from MGM Grand to the side. One giant bus hub instead of 2 bus stops, and the Youth Sports Recreation Center with their own field in the back. And then above that, you have 2 separate garages that allow for traffic coming in from the back roads with renewable energy solar paneling on the top. Underneath these black lines, that kind of outlines where I think a sheer tarp should go over to allow for that to be an outdoor event space. You have more than enough space for a parking lot, for a recreational center for kids, a sports center for kids, and the stadium itself, and plenty of park space to really make this into a jumping part of the city. And I think the expansive, beautiful skyline you can have, and the help to the community that they should give, and the available amount of space to be able to give back to said community, this would be a really, really good location. Tell me what you think. Okay, so here's another potential spot. There's a lot right across the street from the Encore and the Wynn that's between the Fashion Show Mall and Genting Avenue, because we're gentlemen here in Vegas. Well, basically Resorts World. And from what I understand, it's owned by the Wynn Corporation, and there's been talk about putting a water park there or some kind of grounds of some kind, but I think this would be a tremendous spot because you have the mall right there, food courts, and granted you wouldn't have a monorail that comes directly here, but there's a lot of bus service. It'd be great for a walking destination, and there's more than enough room to put a parking lot in there. And as far as the traffic impact goes, I mean, of course, the main entrance for cars would be behind over there, yonder by the mall and the Trump, but Genting, directly on this side where that would meet and hug the stadium, is a lowered road that leads into an underground passageway to the back area towards the east side. So it wouldn't have a tremendous impact on that side. It's elevated by Resorts World, but then that would allow you to kind of curve around, just basically enter in the back. That's where the parking lot would be, all the way in the back, and the stadium right here in the front for walking access. So the impact along the main roadway would be minimal. It would impact the Fashion Show Mall, but most people aren't entering by car over there. I think it's a very manageable location as far as car access goes, and definitely wonderful as far as pedestrian traffic goes. Over there yonder by Red Rock is the west. That'd be again the first base side, and you could really utilize, actually it could be behind home plate and first base, and utilize the view of Wynn and Encore and the strip going down, because that's where it kind of turns. You could have an amazing skyline in this stadium. So in the back by Sammy Davis Way, we would have multiple lanes leading to the garage with the solar paneling, the youth sports center, of course. This little box over here would be the freight entrance as well as the player garage. To the side, again, the black lines outline where a tarp would go over here, and an overpass to the Fashion Show Mall. The tarp would obviously cover an event space where, kind of like Yawkey Way at Fenway Park. Then you have a crossover bridge leading from the Wynn Encore parking garage, bus hub right here, another tarp for more events, and there it is. So what do you think about this? I think this is a really good option. Yeah, I like this. Okay, so one option for a future Major League Baseball stadium would be here along the Las Vegas Boulevard Strip, right by Sahara, in the shadow of Stratosphere, across the street from the Sahara Hotel. It is the Las Vegas Fairgrounds. Now, they put on a lot of concerts here. It's basically a huge, huge slab of concrete. The When We Were Young festival was here last year, and it's really quite the option for concerts and whatnot. And if you put a Major League Baseball stadium here, it's not going to change any of that. In fact, it could enhance it. Instead of it being just a slab of concrete that in the summertime, ooh, it gets hot. You have a huge stadium, a huge park, parking facilities, youth recreation center here, and it could still be a concert ground. And you could really turn this into a destination on the northern side of the strip that is in desperate need of having as many positive and safe destinations as possible. Now, as far as the skyline goes, it's a little bit limited. The west is that way. So the stadium could face this way, having the west on the first base side, and then the stadium itself with the skyline would overlook the Fontainebleau if and when it finally opens. Now, you get some of Encore there, it's not going to be the most expansive, beautiful view. Vegas has such an iconic skyline that you really want to showcase it in whatever you build. This wouldn't provide for that, really. The Las Vegas Fairgrounds would be a huge boost for this part of the Strip. The Northern Strip in desperate need of it. It would help the Sahara really become a destination hotel. Fontainebleau is already going to help with this area. It would kind of help bridge that demilitarized no man's zone leading up to the Strat. This could be a huge boost for the community. Now, that being said, you have a bus that's off right there. So right now there's a tram that goes back to the West Gate and then kind of comes around to the back of Sahara. What I would do is curve it to come down Lizette Way, bring it down, turn right here. I think that would really open up this space and allow for people to get here pretty uninterrupted. Of course, if Elon has his way and he's doing a whole underground Tesla tunnel, then you would have a stop here, but I really don't think that's ever gonna happen. Public transportation is something that they really forgot about or just didn't care about with Allegiant, and you can't do that with this. They really wouldn't put a huge damper on traffic. There's already along Sahara dips and curves and turns that would allow you to pull into a parking lot in the back by Sammy Davis over there. And then you got the parking grounds over there by the Hilton. This rendering has been proposed for the fairgrounds because this is one of, when I originally said 2 spots that are being considered, now actually 3, which we'll get into last. So this is how I would design it. In the back by Sammy Davis again, you have a garage with multiple lanes, so you kind of ease up on the traffic, everyone kind of flow in, wait within the grounds and not clog up the artery of the main avenue. The youth center, to the side of it, you have the player entrance and freight entrance. You have a crossover bridge leading directly from the garage into the stadium. Then, of course, the tarp, that's actually covered there for event spaces. And then the monorail that would come along from behind Sahara and over to the stadium itself. This would be a very good, viable option for buses, tram if they were, or monorail if they were to extend it, walking and driving. So the Las Vegas Fairgrounds on the Las Vegas Strip, right off Sahara. What do you think about this location? Okay, so here I am, not in front of, in that waste of a space on Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana, in front of the Tropicana, but I'm in the parking lot. There was talk about possibly demolishing the Tropicana, which I think would be a huge bonus to Vegas, and erecting a stadium here. There were some designs online, and what this would kind of do is complete the holy trifecta of having a baseball stadium, then T-Mobile Arena on the other side of New York, and then of course across the 15 Allegiant Stadium. Congestion-wise, it's on Tropicana, so we have the buses. There's mass transit here for pedestrians. And I would do the same thing that I would do with any other stadium on a main road. I would have it be where no car access on game day from the main road. Don't congest that up, which is not quite what they do with T-Mobile. They do allow you to turn into the parking lot, which I guess it's not that bad of a backup. So I guess if right here towards the back you wanted to have the cars be able to access via Tropicana into the back parking lot garage, which I assume would be back here. That's how I would design it. But for the most part, I would keep Tropicana and the Strip pedestrian access. You don't need to build a monorail or tram here because you've got the one that goes from Mandalay to Luxor to Excalibur. And then of course you've got the one that goes from Bellagio Verdara to Crystal City Shops, Aria, Park MGM, right on the other side of New York, which is basically where T-Mobile Arena is. So, and people can walk from there. And then you've got the monorail that goes right there in the back of MGM Grand. So you've kind of got a great conflux of accessibility. And then because west is over there, you can kind of see the sun starting to shine. So the stadium can basically open this way, north, and you've got New York immediately, City Center, MGM Grand, all of the Strip until it turns. You can have a skyline for days. I know a lot of Las Vegans are like, oh, we don't want a stadium right on the Strip like that. Like, that would be horrible for the city, horrible. I disagree. I think if you got rid of a hotel that's struggling, that has a huge footprint on the Strip. I mean, that's the second tower. It's far back there. These are little villas, if you can call them that, and the main hotel. This is a huge property, lots of acres, and you can absolutely have a hub here. A stadium wouldn't really go past this anyway. Then garages in the back and a youth center over there. You could really turn this into a beautiful spot for a Major League Baseball stadium.
By the outfield entrance, which would be the main entrance, you have 2 new crossover bridges leading from MGM Grand Excalibur to the tarp-covered event gathering space. Then you could add a cool boutique hotel. Because of where it's positioned, you can have rooms with balconies that overlook the skyline and rooms that actually look inside the stadium like the Rogers Center. Of course, behind it you have the solar panel covered garage and freight entrance and player entrance, and then the youth recreation center. But the most important thing they could do in this site is, because they would turn the Tropicana location into a hub of commerce, that would allow them to turn, as they should have done already, and I hope they do regardless of what goes here, the October 1st Fairgrounds Massacre location into a memorial park similar to that of the World Trade Center in New York City. And that, I think, would be vital to putting a stadium here. They have to go hand in hand.
MLB, tear this hotel down. I'm not a Reagan fan, but it seemed appropriate. Oh, while we're at it, we can on Oyo too, because I know my boy Steven would hate that because he loves his Hooters, but it's gross in there. Okay, so I am in the parking lot of the Rio. Now, there's been talk about the Rio being remodeled, which it desperately needs. There's been talk about it being condemned, which Vegas probably desperately needs. I mean, I remember, I've said this in several of the vlogs, when this was a destination, and now it's just something to be avoided. Regardless of that, they've been talking about putting a stadium here. Now, I live there, so I'll raise my prices and also congest West Twain, because the Rio is set between West Twain over there and over yonder, where that overpass is, Flamingo. So it's quite an expansive property. Even if you kept the Rio and just reduced their parking lot, you could have more than enough room for a stadium. And of all the places that we visited or are going to visit, it has, hands down, bar none, the best skyline. I'll show you what it looks like at night from my New Year's video where I went up on the parking garage, but that would be a hell of a view. West is over yonder. You can just put home plate back here and show the stadium, and bam! That is your outfield. I mean, come on. Hard to argue against this location for that alone, and for the fact that it's kind of out of the way from the strip. But that being said, that's part of the problem, because how you gonna get here? Flamingo's always backed up. I don't think it would be quite as simple as it is in Tropicana, where they close it off so you can go into the New York parking lot. It's doable, because if the cars are coming in from both Flamingo and West Twain, and from Valley View, which is just over on the other side of Rio, then you got something to work with, because then you've got 3 main avenues from which cars can access the stadium. But if you're keeping the Rio, then coming in from Valley View isn't really going to be an option unless they create a special passageway, I guess, around the back, which is, it's not doable. It's not. I mean, granted, with Allegiant, they didn't care. They did not build anything to help ease the fan-going experience as far as getting to and from the stadium. They shouldn't do that with a baseball stadium. What I think would be somewhat of a solution is, by then it would be Hard Rock, built a monorail specifically from Hard Rock over to here. Or trolley? Maybe a trolley system. Because it'd be hard. You can't really go under 15 with a monorail or over the 15 with a monorail. And then you got to worry about the train tracks, which also there's an elevated path over there as well. Let's walk over there, shall we? What I think is that there should be a trolley that goes from Hard Rock under the 15, under the freight train, and then as it comes up on Twain here, it elevates by Jade, and then curves around in here, and then bickety bam, you're at the brand new Las Vegas A's baseball stadium, where the Rio is and or was at that time. So the Rio, all of a sudden on the news, is the leading contender for a stadium. A week ago, it was Tropicana and the Fairgrounds. Anyway, the youth center goes there,
and you would double the garages, put the solar paneling on there, because right now there's just that one garage. Then you have the trolley that I'm thinking about that would go up West Twain and curve into the main event space covered by the tarp. Offshoot of Twain, some of the road would go underground, and that would kind of cut under the stadium and lead to the other side by the parking garages, and some would lead up to the youth center, and the garage would also have a stop by the convention center. I think that would maximize the space at the rear. Let me know in the comments what you think about these potential sites from Oakland, Las Vegas A's stadium. It's going to take a while to get used to that, and the people of Oakland, I do feel for you if the team relocates, but since it looks like they might, let me know what you think. What did I leave out? What should be included? What should be taken out from my thoughts for each site? And who's your team and who's going to win it all this year? All right, I thank you for watching. I appreciate you for watching. I love you for watching. Please consider throwing this video a like and sharing it and subscribing to the channel. That really, really, really would help. Really trying to get to 250 and 300 maybe in the next few months. So that would really mean a lot to me. All right. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.